some.
Attention to detail, making sure everyone comes gets their food in a timely manner, and you're planning a good pre-shift with everybody.
Oh
Yeah,
my
with the
goodness.
task force. That's the picture. Then I'm gonna work on the dining room shortly. Good luck. Thank you so much. Hi there.
Hey,
Hi.
hey, turn it down. Let me see. Hmm. Hey, my one viewer. All right, so it's showing me. Let me see. Mm. All right, so that's that. Hmm. Oh no, today it was showing me how to do. Let's see. Hmm. Let me see. That's the green screen. I don't need a green screen. Hmm. I'm trying to figure this out, y'all. Okay. I don't need that. Okay, let me see something. All right, what was that? Oh, okay, let me see. Hold on. Community. Hmm. I don't need that either. Let's see, what is that? Live chat is on. Participate mode. Anyone? Let me see. Okay. So it's just showing me, y'all. I'm just looking. Uh, message delay. None. Participation. Anyone? Okay, so all that's good. All right, so I don't need that.
Now let's get chairs for these tables. I want you guys to start moving these chairs out of the way so I can put tables. This, take it outside. She seems a little overwhelmed. I'm gonna change. Huh? Should I send ice cream before? I'll send it right now.
Hmm.
Have y'all voted for the menu yet?
Hey, y'all.
Yes. All right, where are y'all? Is it everybody? Okay. You have water on the table. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna
Hey, all of everybody. Go ahead and hit those thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up when you come in the room. Going to like my live, share my live, and engage. Share my live, engage. Give me thumbs up. And let's get in this dialogue, okay? Let's get in this dialogue. So it looks like I have 7 people on here. All 7 of y'all give me thumbs up. Make sure you're sharing my live. Um, that'll keep me in the algorithm. Y'all know I hate that word. But anyway, let's get on in here and let's dialogue. Let's have a dialogue. Y'all seen my live, my thumbnail. Let's talk about grief. Okay, come on, give me some thumbs up. We got 10 people in here. Come on, thumbs up this live broadcast. Okay. Hey, hey, everybody that's coming on. thumbs up this live. When you come in, give me a thumb up. All right? And we're going to get on in this dialogue. Want to see how many thumbs up we get. Thank you. Thank you so much. And make sure you are engaging in this subject that we're about to talk about. This afternoon, where earlier today, I was sitting on my porch and, I was kind of like going over some of the things that I was going to be talking about tonight. And again, hey y'all, hey 13 of y'all, give me thumbs up when you come in. We're going to be talking about grief on tonight. If you ever had anyone that you have lost that was close to you, we are going to be talking about that on tonight. And we're going to talk about the 5 stages of grief. There are 5 stages of grief. So if you ever lost anybody, you may find yourself in one of these stages, and this is going to help you to overcome that, right? Oh, oh, God bless you. I apologize, my God, my condolence. So then this subject hits home to everyone, and so I lost a son in 2018 to gun violence, and then I lost a son in 2021 through COVID-19. All right, and so just as I was talking about earlier today, you go through 5 stages of grief, and you say you just lost your mom a week ago. You're going to find yourself going through those 5 stages. And what we're going to talk about tonight is how we're going to grieve properly. All right. And how we're going to grieve, to the point where we're not going to alcohol, or we're not going to go out and get on drugs or anything like that, because a lot of time people will take alcohol to try to cope with the pain of losing someone. So that's not grieving properly. So what we want to do, we want to grieve properly, okay? And I'm going to share with you some steps that I went through. Like I said, I lost a son in 2018, and then I lost a son in 2018, and then 2021. So, I'm going to share with you the steps that I went through my grieving process, the work that I had to do in order to get through each day. All right. So some days was harder than others, but I was able to get through. All right. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. As I was sharing with y'all earlier today, the ones that was on the live broadcast, one of the first things you're going to have to go through when you're grieving is acceptance. Acceptance is the number one thing. And like I told y'all on my live earlier, that's one of the things I didn't go through with the son that I lost in 2018. Now, the reason being is that I try to keep myself busy. I was trying to keep myself busy. I did want to think about the part of losing him. So I will bury myself down in work, or I will bury myself down in doing something, whether it's, being with my grandchildren, or whether it's just, partying, you know. So when I lost my son in 2018, I didn't grieve properly, okay? And so that's how I can talk to y'all about this. All right. So my baby boy, he was one of the ones that kind of poured into me. He carried the burden of me, losing my child. The reason why I say he carried a burden, because we never really, as a family, after losing him in 2018, we never did as a family came and sat down and talked about, hey, we just lost him. And then on top of that, after losing him, no one was charged for the murder. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at 6 years that we had to go through as a family, and no one was charged for the murder. All right. So acceptance is number one. These are the stages that you're going to go through. The second stage you find yourself going through is also a shame. Now I went through a shame process because number one, who wants to lose a child? All right. We birth children in this world. We don't look for us to, for our children to go before us. So shame is one of the things I felt because hey, I just lost a son. And it's hard when you lose a son. And a lot of people probably say, hey, well, it's not a difference. It's a difference. The reason why is because men kind of like are trailblazers. All right. They are the ones that you look forward to if you got something you need to fix in the house, or if you got something that you need done, like as far as carpentry work, mowing the yard, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a difference when you lose a son than losing a daughter. All right. Because number one, those sons are trailblazers. They are the masculine being in your household. Okay. So I found myself after going through that, number one, not accepting that he was gone. That was wrong. I kind of like try to brush it up under, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you like I was telling you, if you had a hidden um so if you gained a lot of weight and all of a sudden you can't, fit the clothes that you used to wear. You take and you fold them and you tuck them in under the drawer. So that part of my life, I try to tuck in. I didn't want it to be shown. I didn't want to talk about it. Even though we went through the process of burying him, we went through the process of having a memorial service and all that. It was something that I tucked in. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like something secretive we didn't talk about. So I didn't want to accept that he was gone. That was number one. And then I didn't want to accept how he was gone. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to look at, sometimes people leave this world through sickness. Some people have massive heart attacks, but my son, whenever he was taken away from me in 2018, he was taken away from me mass murder. Okay, he was sitting in his car and they came and pow him in the head. Okay, so I didn't want to accept he was gone, and then I didn't want to accept the way he was gone. All right, I didn't want to accept the way someone took his life. All right, because that's very harsh. After having a child, you bond with that child. You don't want anything to happen to your child, even when you're raising them. You know, Mama Bear is always on the scene. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever, he got pim, it was something I couldn't stop. It was something that I couldn't fix. It was something, so I felt ashamed. I didn't want to accept it, and then I didn't want to accept the way he was gone. All right, so those are the things that I went through, and then I went through also of why me, you know what I'm saying? I went through the part of why my child. Why did I have to go through that? You hear all the time that people in this world loses their loved ones, loses their children, and until it hit home, you be like, oh my God, why me? That's supposed to happen to that person or this person, not me, not my child, And so you go through that period as well. All right. I went through a period when I went out and I was drinking. Uh, I went through anger. I wanted to pow the person that pow him, you know. So, you go through acceptance, not accepting it. That's the first thing. The second thing is you go through you know, of a shame, embarrassing, having an embarrassment moment. Also, you go through anger, like you want to really hurt somebody for doing your child the way they did your child. You know what I'm saying? So you go through those three steps and they all come in waves. Like you may feel good today, in 3 days, something may hit you, like you may hear a song they used to sing, or you may smell a cologne they used to wear, and then it hit you. And then you go through a wave of, you know, anger. You go through a wave of, crying, depressed, because I went through depression. You know, I went through depression of 2018. So that was a major point in my life that I had to, readjust, to the real world. You know what I'm saying? So my world stopped and changed and was altered in 2018. All right. So when I thought I was getting my footing back, when I thought that I was getting myself back together, you know, really still missing him, but still having my foot on the ground where I can go back to work. Because like I said back then, I had my own business. I had my own, beauty supply store slash clothing store that I end up losing because, I went through the period of grief. You know what I'm saying? And when you go through that grieving period, sometimes you go through depression, and depression will have you, in the dumps. So I went through depression to where I didn't want to do anything. So I ended up losing my business. That was the first business that I lost in 2018. And then we had also a trucking company that I ended up losing as well because, again, my mind was not, on doing business stuff. All right. So I lost two companies. All right. So in 2019, I was trying to get my groove back. 2020, I was just getting myself back to where I can actually go back to work. To work. Getting myself back together. Trying to be a mother to the children that I had left, and trying to be a grandmother, trying to be a wife, trying to be a businesswoman again. All right. 2020, and then COVID breaks out. COVID breaks out, and I'm like, what in the world? The world shuts down. All right. So, again, that left everybody, and y'all know what happened in COVID. They close up the world. We end up having to be home, masked up, and all that stuff like that. Well, my son, my baby boy, he caught COVID. All right. And he had the first screen that actually came out. I think it was the Delta Vera, and he caught that COVID. And he was working at the prison camp. He was working at our local prison camp here when he was, he got COVID. All right, from the prison camp. All right, so he comes home and we're trying to doctor on him, and I could tell that. The second day he was kind of sluggish, and I was like, well, you need to go to the doctor. Your cough sounds bad, and everything that we was giving him that the news had put on, the TV to take, we was giving that to him. You know what I'm saying? And so um, it seemed like he was getting better day 3. All right, and cough on his bad, but he still was kind of sluggish. Okay, he still was kind of weak, and he still was kind of sluggish. And I was like, hey, I still think you need to go to the doctor. Let's make sure that this is out of your system, because he's still not eating, he's still sluggish, but he don't have any cough. The cough have kind of cleared up. And so he was like, "No, I feel good, Mom. I'm good." And so I was like, "Well, okay, he's good." I told his wife, to kind of keep a check on him, make sure, he's okay, and call me if anything get worse. We'll take him to the ER, or a doctor's visit or whatever. And so day 4, he started wheezing again, and I was like, "Sonny, tomorrow." We're going to the doctor. Ain't no if, ands, and buts about it. We're going. And so about maybe 5 o'clock, no, actually 6 o'clock that morning. And one thing again, when you go through grieving, because before I go there, let me say this. Because when my son got pow in 2018, I got a call around about 7 o'clock that he got, you know, shot, you know. And I was like, dang, I was like, in the back of my mind that he just got shot in his leg or his arm. I never thought that he got shot, you know, here, in his torso. And so when she called me around 6, 7 o'clock that morning, you always be prepared for that call because you got that call in 2018. So I was already on alert. Um, when you deal with grief like that, you're going to always find yourself on alert. Like, if the phone rings or if somebody calls in the wee hours of the morning, you're going to be on guard. Um, One thing about it is that I never really slept after 2018 hard. I used to be a hard sleeper, but whenever my son got pim and murdered in 2018, it just altered my life to I'm on alert at every time. I'm just on alert. So when I got that call at 6 o'clock in the morning, she was like, "Hey, um, Josh said he can't breathe." And I was like, "Okay, listen, call the ambulance, but I'm on my way." You know what I'm saying? And so she said, "Okay, I'm about to call the ambulance and you be on your way." So I'm getting in my car and they may stay 3 miles from my house. Not very long. All right. So I'm in my car and I'm driving fast as I can because I'm like, hey, if I get COVID, I just get COVID. I'm gonna take my son to where he needs to go. You know what I'm saying? He's to the point now he can't breathe. And so I was telling her, I say, make sure walk him outside, give him some air, blah blah blah. Just tell him all those things. Telling her all those things to do. Hey, everybody that's coming in, and so she called me back. Maybe 5 minutes later, she called me back, and she was like, "The ambulance is on their way. Are you coming?" I said, "Yes." I said, I'm a good 2 minutes from your house." you know. And she said, "Oh my effing God," just like that. And I was like, "What happened? What happened?" And the phone just died. And I'm like, "Oh my God. Oh my God. What is it? What is it? What is it?" My nerves went haywire. And I boo-booed on myself and I did number one as well. That's how bad my nerves was. And so I was like, "Oh my God, what is it? What is it? What is it?" The phone hung up. And so when I got there to their house, okay, the message is helpful review. I don't know who that was. When I got there to their house, right, um, there was an ambulance and a fire. It was a fire truck. Yeah, it was a fire truck and an ambulance already there. I'm like, dang, how they beat me here? Not thinking that they stay a minute from the fire department. Okay, so ambulance and the fire department was right there. So I pulls up um, to get out the car. I'm jumping out and I'm running to their house, and the police officer, he stops me. He's like, "You can't go in there. You can't go in." And I was like, "That's my son." And he was like, "But you can't go in there, ma'am." I said, "That's my son. That's my child. I need to go in there with my child at. Like, what's going on?" He's like, "You, ma'am, I sympathize with you, but you cannot go in there because they're working on him." Working on him? What you mean working on? What the heck? But I didn't say what the heck. I said what the HEWL, right? I said, "Oh my God." So did he pass out? What happened? So I'm calling his wife on the phone because they're not letting me into the house. I'm calling her on the phone. She's not answering the phone. I'm like, "Oh my God, like this is crazy." Like, she's gonna have to answer this phone. Well, can you tell his wife to pick up the phone? Because I'm calling her. Like, tell her I'm outside. I need her to pick up the phone. I need to know what's going on with my child. Like, what's happening? And he said, "Ma'am, they're working on him. His wife is right there with him." No, that's not what I asked you. I told you to tell his wife to pick up the phone because I am calling her. Just like that. And so he's like, "Yes, ma'am, I'll do that." So he goes to tell her, "I'm outside, pick up the phone. I need to hear something. I need to know something. What's happening?" Because the police officer is not giving me any kind of they're not telling me, they're not giving me no information. And I'm outside, I'm freaking out. I done boo booed on myself. I done peed on myself. And I need to know something. You know what I'm saying? And so she picks up the phone and she's hysterical. She's crying. He's gone. He's gone. I said, gone. What the freak? I said, what is happening, Brand? He's gone. He's unalive. He's not here no longer. Oh my God, they're working on him, but his eye, he's gone. He's gone. I'm like, oh my God. So the my baby boy that held me together in 2018, now, you know, he's gone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, God, this can't be fair. Like, how in the world do you expect for me to go through this right here? I lost one in 2018. God, please don't take my child. And I was just hollering and going on. And so they end up putting me in one ambulance and they was rolling him out. And I actually saw him and they had like the little thing, what you call the thing where they put on your chest to bring you back. I don't know what it's called. I can't think of it right now. Um, they was um, shocking his heart trying to get him back. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm in one ambulance, they taking him, they're taking me, and we get to the hospital around 7:30, they pronounce him gone. You know what I'm saying? So I end up losing the baby boy in 2021 to COVID-19. All right. So here I was having a double impact of grief put on my shoulders. And I'm like, I know there is no way I'm gonna make it out of this one. So um I end up going through the process of losing two children 2 years apart. All right. Now these same two children were um 1 year apart. As far as having them, there was a year one was in born in 90, the other one in um 91, I think it was. 89 and 90. I'm sorry, 89 and 90. So there was a year apart. So, and I'm losing them 2 years apart. Um, one to COVID-19, the other one to gun violence. And, this put a whole damper in my life. And so I end up, like I said, drinking alcohol to soothe my pain. Uh, I didn't get on any drugs or anything of that nature, but wine was my go-to. All right. I think I stayed high more than anything, trying to get through this process of losing two children. Um, uh, just going through depression, just going through the motion. I thought that one point in my life I was going to lose my mind. I really thought that. Um, but I ended up going to um, sit down to talk with a shrink. So I ended up talking to a therapist, and they ended up putting me on medication. Um, I stayed on medication for about maybe a year and a half. I stayed on medication, and they started winging me off the medicine. All right, through that time, I went through so much with depression, suicidal. Oh my God, you name it, I went through it. 2021 was the worst year of my life. All right. So 2023, no 2021 and 2022 was the worst years of my life. I shot down. I didn't want to talk to nobody. Um, again, while I was trying to start my businesses back up, I just, I said the heck with that. I had to get my mind together. I had to get my spirit together. I had to get me together. All right. And so, through my process of losing both of my children, right? it has changed my life tremendously. All right. There's not a day that don't go by that I don't think about those two boys. All right. They got children that look just like them. They got children, they two boys. Well, my baby boy had two girls and two boys, so he had four children. And then my knee baby boy had one. And I'm telling you, their children are just like them growing up. I mean, it's just like God gave me, his their children to, um, to I guess to look at it differently because I actually seeing their kids growing up and they remind me so much of them growing up, so much of them. I'm like, oh my God, you act just like your daddy. Oh my God, you act like your daddy. So it's just like he gave me some years back to say, okay, let me show you something. In the midst of you losing those two boys, they got two boys that look like them, act like them, and everything. So I get a laugh out of that. But the process that I had to take of going through my grieving period, I tell anybody that it's not easy. I'm gonna tell you, take it one day at a time. Grieve properly. All right. I didn't grieve properly at first. All right. It took me to having to go sit down, talk to somebody to get myself back together. All right. To learn how to grieve the proper way. And like I said, those 5 steps of grieving, you're going to feel anger, you're going to feel hurt, you're going to feel ashamed. These are natural feelings. These are natural feelings when you're going through grief. All right. Don't let nobody don't let nobody tell you that you know like you should be over this, you should be over that. You don't let nobody get in your ear and tell you those things because you're gonna forever. You built a bond with these people. Um, whether it was your parents or your children or your husband, whoever it was, you got years involved with these people, and so it's not like a switch that you can turn on and turn off, right? So you go through your period of grieving and don't let nobody tell you how long you have to grieve, or you should be grieving. You know what I'm saying? With me, it's going to be a lifetime because these was my children, you know, and so I'm going to always go through the process of missing them. I'm going to always go through the process of wishing they were here, all those things, and so with that being said, I've learned how to adjust. Now, has my life changed? It has. But with God's help, I've learned how to adjust. I'm not on any kind of medication now at all. I don't drink any kind of wine, none of that at all. You know what I'm saying? But I had to go through those steps. I had to go through those steps to learn how to overcome and to be an overcomer because the Bible says that we overcome by each other testimonies. So this is my testimony that God can bring you out of any situation in your life. You just got to allow him. You just got to allow him to do it. And he's a healer of the brokenhearted. He's a healer of the brokenhearted. So um my story, um, I'm pretty sure it can regulate with anybody because we all have lost somebody in our life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling you, there are proper ways to grieve, and then there's not proper ways to grieve. And yeah, so that's my story. I'm still going to be talking to you guys a little bit more about grieving because let me tell you, um, it's going to always resonate with me because I went through that. I went through that. And I mastered it? No, because there are times I miss my children. There are times I wish they was here. There's times that I wish I could have prevented it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see, when you have children, you don't foresee them leaving this world, before you. You don't foresee that. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea. We live life all the time, and you raise your children up. They graduate high school, they graduate college, they become husbands, they become wives, they become mothers, they become fathers. You know what I'm saying? So you don't foresee after you have children that their life gonna end when they turn this age or that age, or you don't foresee those things, because if you did have a foresight of that, you would try to prevent it from happening. You would try to prevent it from happening. If I would have seen, you know, I would have seen beforehand in 2018 that my son was going to get murdered, I would have took him over to my house, or I would have changed the situation around where it wouldn't have took place. And so these are the things that we always gonna have in my head or in my mind. I know I'm gonna have in my mind is how could I have helped that situation? Why didn't I see that coming? Why didn't I just bring him to my house? Why didn't I just take, my baby boy to the doctor instead of waiting till, the next day? Why did I didn't take him the day before that? So these are the things that's always going to be in my mind is what could I have done to prevent this? And guess what? Every time I think of those things, I come back to this right here. I couldn't have done nothing different because it was not in my hands. It was not in my hands. Because that's one thing that we can't stop is death. That's one thing that we can't prevent. That's one thing that we all gonna do before um, you know, being born in this world. We got a birth date and we got an expiration date. That's just something that we cannot help. We're gonna be born and we're gonna expire. We're gonna leave here. We don't know when, the day, the hour, the time. We don't know. We have no idea. It's not given us. That blueprint is not given to us. So with that being said, you know, we have to live life to the fullest. We have to live life to the fullest. And so I have just one person that stayed here the whole while. I appreciate that one person, and I don't know why it's not letting y'all. Um, I don't know why it's not letting y'all say anything. But anyway, I appreciate that one person. Hopefully that resonate with you. And yeah, we this channel we're gonna be cooking on this channel. We're gonna be talking about grief. We're gonna be talking about a lot of hot topics. And so yeah, so I just want y'all to get to know who I am and the things that I went through and the things I've overcome, in this lifetime. And your girl, get ready to get out of here. Y'all know I try to do 30 minutes or less on my live videos and my yeah, so I'm at 38 minutes. Wow. Y'all got me for 38 minutes tonight. This girl been talking. But anyway, I'm about to go. Y'all have a good night. Make sure you share my broadcast. Make sure you hit the subscriber button here and give me some thumbs up. And I'll see y'all on the next live video. Peace and blessings.